Rain streaks crawled off the sea, and a shadow passed through the clouds. No propeller noise, just a thin, tearing hiss in the air. Below, a German Heinkel bomber flew alongside two escorting Bf-109 fighters, maintaining steady formation. Suddenly, the bomber disintegrated in mid-air, erupting into a blinding fireball. They hadn't even glimpsed an enemy when another streak of fire tore from beyond visual range, obliterating a Bf-109. A phantom had arrived, a death machine from the future, descending into the skies of 1940. An F-22 Raptor, fully armed, supersonic, equipped with sensor fusion technology, struck without warning at the forefront of World War II. Could a single stealth fighter take on the entire Luftwaffe? Technically, yes, but this invincible warbird was on borrowed time. In its initial one-sided massacre, the F-22 had already expended two AIM-120 AMRAAMs and one Sidewinder missile. In this era, there were no aerial tankers to refuel it, no ground crews who understood stealth codings, no factories to reload advanced munitions. The pilot had only one full load of fuel, one full load of ammunition, to attempt to change the course of the European battlefield before the gauges hit zero. Radar screens filled with thousands of blips as the entire German fighter patrol surged toward the channel like wolves sensing blood. Half of the missile racks were empty, and the cockpit countdown was turning the once unmatched war god into a 20-ton iron coffin, hurtling toward the cold sea. In the foggy dawn over the channel, a German bomber exploded without warning, its escort pilots staring into the void, seeing no enemy, an absolute act of terror inflicted by a weapon beyond comprehension. But the seeming inevitability of this dimensional strike hid a cruel truth. The F-22 was undergoing a slow, irreversible death. Every trigger pull drained its already finite life. At the start of the hunt, 6 medium-range air-to-air missiles ripped through clouds at Mach 4. Autonomous, ruthless, these missiles actively sought targets 60 miles away. 2 Sidewinders followed, locking onto the glowing exhaust of German aircraft. Germany's finest aces had no time to react. Within minutes, the sky was littered with burning wrecks. From the Luftwaffe perspective, they faced not a plane, but a godlike force beyond understanding. But even gods bleed. In this timeline, there were no AWACS, no GPS, no functioning IFF systems. Highly sophisticated sensors and avionics turned into dead weight. This was not a story of individual heroism. It was a desperate, isolated struggle against physics and entropy. All missiles expended, cannon nearly empty, fuel approaching critical red. The pilot prepared to ditch the Raptor, a stealth death trap, into the icy channel. But then radar revealed an approaching German formation. The Luftwaffe had not fled, they had laid a trap. Primitive, brutal, and unavoidable. This $150 million killing machine, after destroying just a handful of aircraft, was now worthless scrap against thousands of Luftwaffe fighters, continuously taking off. The pilot throttled up and dove into 40,000 feet of cloud, high enough for slow fuel burn and broad visibility. He wasn't hunting every Messerschmitt rebuilt on the production line. He cranked the radar to maximum, scanning the French coastline like an enormous X-ray. He found the engines of the Luftwaffe, a coastal radar station, several command nodes. The last 2 high-value AMRAAMs streaked toward crude wooden and concrete structures. When the next wave of German bombers tried to regroup over the channel, they had no guiding signals. Radar screens were blank. The formation swirled aimlessly, and in those few minutes the RAF seized high-altitude positions, destroying disorganized Luftwaffe bombers like clay pigeons. The pilot didn't need credit for kills, just by tearing the German operational schedule apart. The machine gnawed through the enemy's gears. But this came at a cost. Fuel and munitions were nearly gone. Red line warning, lights blazing. He pitched down into the approaching patrol, now armed only with the M61A2 Vulcan cannon. German pilots realized they faced a machine moving 5 times faster than them, defying all aerodynamic expectations. As the last rounds emptied, fuel gauges red-lined, the pilot leveled off and glided west, intending to bury the futuristic wreck in the icy channel. But miles away, British intelligence officers spotted a composite fragment, washed ashore, eerily smooth and unnatural. A reminder, once this lethal machine entered close quarters, the quagmire of WWII consumption could drain it instantly. Ragnarok had arrived for the gun cannon era. Cloud layers torn, F-22 exposed to Luftwaffe sight, the German pilots' minds blank. Their efforts to target it were futile. Speed and maneuverability far exceeded human reaction. This was not a duel. It was one-sided mechanical slaughter. The M61A2 cannon roared, 6,000 rounds per minute, shredding aluminum skins, exploding engines, and turning a dozen Luftwaffe aces into fiery debris. Yet the pilot felt no thrill. The red cockpit alarms were deafening. Ammunition exhausted in mere seconds, fuel plunging past red. A superhero's power is meaningless without sustainment. No tankers, no crews, no spare parts. This ultimate weapon, 80 years ahead of its time, starved to death in a 1940 sky. The pilot had no choice but to glide the powerless bird into the cold channel. Its technology, once invincible, now succumbed to the brutal arithmetic of war logistics. It terrified German air crews, disrupted command, forced poor Luftwaffe formations into losses, and stole minutes from the enemy's timetable, enough for more RAF aircraft to survive that morning. The F-22 broke the enemy's schedule, then vanished quietly. In modern life, be it brutal corporate competition or career warfare, are you the Shij, flashy, fragile single-point weapon, or the unassuming system with endless Wundfreffer, sustainment capable of weathering attrition? Comment below with your answer.